So good afternoon, welcome. Thank you for coming out on Easter weekend and to hear Bhante Saranapala speak as part of this series of 4 talks entitled The End of Suffering. This particular talk is on dependent origination, the causal chains that create bondage and suffering. I don't claim to be a big expert on the Buddha's teachings. I've done quite a bit of meditation practice and some study. But I've always, to the extent that I've ever been associated with any teachers who are instructing in meditation and the theory of, Buddhist psychology and so on, this teaching that he's giving today is considered like a critical linchpin teaching of the whole instruction of the Buddha of how to bring about the end of suffering. So we've got sheets that I'm going to pass out right now, and you can take one because it has the links. I'm going to actually separate it in half, and then put half over there. So it has actually the links written down of the causal chain that creates suffering, and then the undoing of suffering. So it'll require a certain amount of focus, a certain amount of understanding, but I'm sure Bhante will guide us graciously through it. And on that note, first of all, for those who haven't been here before, welcome to Midtown Yoga, and welcome also to meeting Bhante Saranapala, who I feel very grateful has been willing to come up here to give these talks. And he's a resident at a temple, the West End Meditation Center, I think it's called, in Mississauga. He's born in Bangladesh and was trained in Sri Lanka, and then was posted in Toronto by his religious superior, his teacher. And then in the course of that got his PhD in comparative religion from the University of Toronto, and is now the Buddhist chaplain at the University of Toronto, and also does extensive amounts of community activities to help people through meditation and the teachings of mindfulness and so on. For example, about a month ago he was down in Chicago training the Chicago Police Force, portion of the Chicago Police Force. I believe he's done that with the Toronto Police Force as well. And I'm hoping that he's going to go to the White House for Donald Trump, maybe. Mindfulness training, loving kindness meditation, and so on. Lots of loving kindness meditation. And on that note, please welcome Bhante Saranapala.
Welcome. Thank you for coming to the talk. First, I'm going to do a little chanting, and I'm going to start the talk. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Okay, so thank you all for coming to this talk today, despite the long weekend, Easter weekend. You thought of coming this afternoon to spend 2 hours with me. Yeah? We can say this is the mindfulness hour. So I'm very grateful to David for inviting me to this yoga studio and for organizing some public talks for me based on one theme of the end of suffering. We we already had 2 sessions. I think they went well, and people really appreciated those words of wisdom. And I said, David has kind of new ideas, all the new ideas, but those are based on the deep teachings of the Buddha. As the first talk was on the end of suffering, and the second talk was on the 4 foundations of mindfulness. And today, I was asked to talk about the dependent origination, known in Buddha's teachings as paticca samuppada. So this is very deep, but you know, when Buddha talked about the dependent origination, his personal attendant, Venerable Ananda, said, Lord, although you say this is so deep, but to me, it doesn't sound deep. It seems a piece of cake for me. But the Buddha said, Ananda, don't say that. It's not a piece of cake. It's not simple, as you say. But it's very deep, very deep. Now, why is it so deep? Now, I think all of you got the handout. Maybe today, instead of just me talking about all this, we can engage in a conversation, in a dialogue. Now, the whole philosophy of the Buddha, the doctrine, the teachings of the Buddha, is based on the human problem, the problem of suffering. Buddha was concerned about that, the human suffering. When we talk about the human suffering, it's not just my suffering or your suffering. Although he was born in India or Nepal in the 6th century BCE, the suffering that he talked about is not the Indian or 6th century suffering, but we all are human beings, although we are living in the 21st century with all the high-tech technology, everything, all the accommodations and facilities, and I think we are still complaining about our life. We are still suffering in certain way. Now, if you ask the teen boys and girls, and of course first they will say, no, they are not suffering. But when you go into their level, talk about their day-to-day experiences, then they say, oh yeah, it's so stressful. And then they are anxious, they suffer from anxieties and depression, stress, and kind of physical pain, and of course emotional pain. So the emotional suffering is there. Everybody is going through this emotional suffering. Now the Buddha understood this, that my whole mission as a Buddha is to talk about this problem of suffering, and then my whole mission is to talk about the end of this suffering, to talk about the freedom from this suffering. So now, what can we do about this? Now, how does suffering comes into being? And how do we bring that to an end? This is what we all have to understand. Now, the dependent origination some water. I think this room is hot yoga, no?
Yes. Like Sri Lanka.
Yeah. I feel like it's 40 degrees now. Now, first, Buddha, when he became enlightened, and then he was reflecting on this paticca samuppada, different origination, back and forth, back and forth. And then he realized, in fact, I am completely free now. I am free. I have become awakened, enlightened. I'm not suffering anymore. I have removed all seeds of suffering from my mind. Now, how did he do this? Now, first he started practicing meditation. Now, of course, people are very interested in meditation everywhere. Even 2 weeks ago, I was in Las Vegas. I did not go there to do gambling or anything like that. I go there time to time, by the way. And people are very interested in meditation. And they are very interested in Buddhism too, the Buddhist teachings. Now, why is that? Why people are showing such a great interest in Buddhism? I am very positive, even today, almost all of you came. Either you had a great interest in Buddhism, or you thought, oh my goodness, the urban Buddhist monk is coming to our town. Let's go and see him. Let's see what he has to say. So this is, about Buddhism. So now why is that? But the fundamental principle of Buddhism is the cause and effect. Something happens in our life because of particular causes and conditions. For something to happen in life, all causes and conditions have to be present. This is what people are realizing now. With the advancement of the science, modern science, neuroscience, psychology, and people are showing a great interest in Buddhism because this is what Buddha talked about. Now, Buddha made it very clear. In Pali, we say, Asmin sati idam hoti. If a condition, right condition is present, this thing will happen. Asmin asati idam nahoti. If there is no right causal condition, and this thing will not happen. Right? So this is what we all have to understand. Like, let's say it's warm now, even outside. Why? Because it's spring, and we are about to welcome the summer. Right? So the cold disappeared. There's no more snow. So, in the same way, all the causes and conditions have to be present. Now, yesterday, we monks were, driving by a road. We saw the green, the grasses. Yeah? And we also saw how trees were about to blossom. So then we look at these trees, look at these grasses. Aren't they green? Aren't they nice? And last week we did not see them, but this week we see them. And then one man said, this is the hetu phala, cause and effect. See, there's enough warmth, heat. As a result of this, all trees are coming back to life. The grass are becoming green. So now if you look around in the countryside, in your backyard, and you see all this. So everything is functioning with all the necessary causes and conditions. Everything based on necessary causes and conditions. Of course, sometimes people think that the world and everything, the environment, everything is governed by a superior entity. You may call them gods or devils or something like that. They think that we are governed, the world is governed by these beings. But the Buddha did not see it that way. Buddha denied the fact that there is no such an entity that governs everything. He said, what I know from my own experiences, my own practice, things are happening due to the necessary causes and conditions. So he denied that concept. Then he explained how things happen in our life. Right? So then he got this wisdom through the practice of meditation. Without meditation, there is no wisdom. We might have knowledge. Having knowledge is one thing, having wisdom is another. So the wisdom is an experiential knowledge. So there's a saying called Yogave Jayati Bhuri. The Bhuri means wisdom, insight. There is another word for that. It's called Panya, or in Sanskrit it's called Prajna. Wisdom, insight. Jayati comes, arises. Comes from what? Yoga. Yoga. Now, not this particular yoga. This is also part of it. But real meaning of yoga is, going meditation, going inwards, right? So this also helps you. I know those who do yoga. Although today in the 21st century, people do yoga for physical exercise, but the yoga is meditation. So the wisdom comes from meditation. So then Buddha practiced meditation for many months. And then he developed his mind, and then he got to experience some deeper levels, states of the mind called the jhana. Have you heard about jhana? In Sanskrit it's called dhyana. Jhana is also a meditation, and jhana comes from when you bring your mind to and a state of stability and clarity. When your mind becomes free from distractions, hindrances, obstacles, then you are at the level of jhana. So jhana is a state of a level of mental purity. This is what you have to understand. So there are different levels of mental purity. There's a first level of mental purity, second level of mental purity, third level of mental purity, fourth level of mental purity, and from there, then Buddha went further deeper. Those are known as, you can say, with the base of space, and the base of nothingness, base of the infinity, and then the base of neither perception or no sensation. Neither perception nor perception is also sensation. After this, the Buddha went to another level of experience, the mental purity. It is called the Sanya Vedayita Nirodha, the cessation of the feelings and sensations. Okay? And at this point, what he did was, he brought the mind to a complete stop. The mind is an activity. He brought this activity, the thing called the activity, the mind, to a complete halt. Now, when you bring your mind to a complete halt, are you aware of anything? Are you conscious of anything? Do you know what is happening? Nothing. You are not aware of anything. Because mind has gone into a complete stop. There is no sensation, no feeling, no perception, nothing. And then, well, that is also a blissful state. It is also a major level of mental purity. And then from here, he came back. He started coming back. From there, he realized that all these are happening due to the sensations and feelings.